Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the channel. This is your girl, Miss Bev. Today, before I start our new video, let's just remember that every Wednesday is a chance to refocus and reignite your passion. You're halfway through the week. Don't let challenges dim your shine. Embrace this day as a stepping stone to your goals. Think of all you have accomplished so far and let that give you that drive. Keep pushing forward. Your hard work will pay off. The finish line is closer than you think, my people. You've got this. So today I'm here with another video. I want to thank those of you who have been jumping on board and have been, giving your contributing to the conversation. Everybody has their story. Everybody has a story. And so I so appreciate those of you who are coming on to empower and to bring to light these things. Some people are sitting in cushiony positions. I don't know. But I know that for many people who have been out there giving of themselves, doing so much for others, they experience the pinch from time to time. They experience it's the reality. Human beings, or when you have, and even those who say they're religious sometimes, a lot of times they're worse than those who are not religious, because sometimes the ones who are not religious, you kind of approach it with a sense of whatever. But when people calling on God and chawing the Bible and they know every passage, every verse, and then when you see the outcome, you trust them and you see how they behave, it really hurts deeply. So as I said in some of the responses, a lot of us, we carry our hearts on our sleeves, right? Our hearts are right there and people see it and they feel like da-da-da-da-da-da. And sometimes when you step back, it shocks them because they don't expect you to say no. They don't expect you to change course. They just expect you to be that stream that just keeps giving. And God really replenishes. God really gives back to us. But again, he says, don't cast pearls before swines. When you're doing and people cannot appreciate and people are not making sense of anything, that they're coming to ask for the same things over and over. They're not making any allowances to change their course. They're just sitting there depending on you. Go out and work hard, and yes, you owe me, so you need to bring it to me. So I appreciate the responses. Thanks to all of the new subscribers. Welcome to the channel. This is the msbevsproductions channel, MBP, we shorten it. And again, this channel is a one-stop shop. You're going to hear poetry, and the playlists are there, guys. Everything is in a playlist. You click on a playlist and you can watch as many videos as you can. And just give me the thumbs up and share them if they meant anything to you. So it's a one-stop shop. I do a little of everything. I'm still dancing to keep myself, the 1 pound at a time, keep myself motivated, keep myself on that positive path. Because again, it's not about how much you weigh or what you look like. It is about who we are inside. And again, we say we can do so much, but again, lazy people should not eat bread. I didn't say it, the Bible said it. And again, cannot cast pearls before swines. If they're not changing their situations, you cannot keep giving and giving. They will suck the life out of you. You want to give where people are doing. They are creating things. They are making an effort to change their situation. So when sometimes people might turn up their nose and say, oh, Jamaica is Jamaica. It's a beautiful place with a lot of beautiful people. But there are also a lot of con artists. And when I say con artists, I mean family members who wants to smooch off you, or and then if you're saying no, you're the worst person, you become targeted. I'm talking about friends that you thought were friends, and who, after they take and or they borrow and you ask for it's time to repay, they hate you, and anything you had said over 40 years, then they try to use it now as a weapon against you. Sometimes you talk to people and you didn't say it in a negative, but you were expressing how you felt, and you have people, I've heard, not me yet, they haven't done that to me yet, but but they run back. You listen sometimes to some things and you just say, I'm sure when the person was talking to you, you had a lot to say. And a lot of times when people run back with these things, these stories, these little times when you shared your heart out, like you just had that moment when you need to speak to somebody, I'm sure they're not saying what they said first. They're always going to say, oh my God, and she said this or she said that. And I always tell my people, I said, listen to me. When people run to you with stories, ask them, what did you say? What did you say? I had a friend one time as a teacher lady who, there was another teacher who was quite interesting, you know. And so when I would speak up about things, I think I had that mouth that was, I just had to speak, you know. And so when they did things and it didn't look right or sound right and I would not agree, then they didn't care, they didn't love Miss Bev so much. They love Miss Bev sometimes, but you know, sometimes they didn't love Miss Bev so much because, you know, there are times when you have to just say, that just wasn't a good thing to say or do. And so one of them, a Jamaican, she claimed to be my friend. Yeah, she claimed to be a friend because when she was becoming a teacher, she was in another program. She was in a program and the program ended. And so she wanted to start teaching regular in a regular setting. And the principal wasn't confident to give her the position. So she came to me and I did a lot of work with her and talk with the principal, and they hired her on, and I kept on working with her. And yeah, she's honest. She told my brother ended up working with her at another place, and this was somebody that we were friends. I'd cook and she never cooked, and I would, you know, we were there, you know, like we had good conversations and stuff like that. But what she was not genuine. So the other teacher, every time my Jamaican teacher would call me like on a Saturday, Bev, you know what this one said, and you know, she's crazy, da 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 da. And then she would talk about it from time to time. And then one morning, on Sabbath morning, I got up and I was getting ready to go out to church, and she called, and I'm talking to her. When she started telling me what the other teacher said, I was crazy because I spoke to the assistant principal. Mind you, I am there and the assistant principal comes in. She's not doing anything that she's supposed to do. She yelled at the kids. She was on the megaphone, that thing, and she would just, she just wasn't doing anything to really enhance the environment. The way she spoke to teachers was ridiculous. And I said, you know, you're here, and I'm sure if the principal leaves, you would like to have the position as a principal. Nobody becomes an AP and doesn't want to go on to become a principal. So why don't you change this and change that? Work with the principal instead of talking so much junk against him. Work with him and build. So my friend's friend, she thought I was crazy to talk to the AP about those things. So I said to my friend that Sabbath morning, I said, it is so strange, you know, that she has never come to me about you. Why is it that she feels so comfortable to keep talking to you about me? Why is she so comfortable? And that was the end of it. I said, when you establish yourself to somebody to say, I am their friend, or I'm not going to agree with this, let's not even discuss it. People will stop. They don't have much to say. When we pretend to be somebody's friend, then all of a sudden people will be ready to say what they want to say, how they want to say it, because they know you'll never defend your friend. Guys, today is Wednesday. If you're somebody's friend, be a friend. If you're not a friend, do not pretend to be one. All right? Just my take this morning on that. So anyhow, today I am going to be talking about, I've said so much about returning residents, so you should be careful. Because the realities are there. People see you coming and they figure you had the opportunity, you were in a better space where you had many opportunities to work hard and to build. People come home after working 35, 40, whatever years in a company, and you're getting some kind of a benefit. So you can come home and relax. You don't have to come home and work as hard, as before. In Jamaica, they get some compensation. It's not even enough. When you look at a light bill, my light bill just this month was 40,000. And so when you look at things like that, how can somebody pay a light bill that high if they don't have the finances to pay it, if they don't have a kid abroad or some, like you don't have it. You're retired. But when you look at, you have to determine, do I pay the bill or eat? It is just sad. Now, people in huge companies where it's different, but professionals, that's the reality of us professionals, like teachers, policemen, people like us, nurses. You're retired, doesn't matter how many years you put in. You're retired, your pension is not huge, right? You can live, but it's not huge. And if it's not huge from America, it's worse not huge in Jamaica. So I am saying that I've been speaking to us about those things, but one of the things I also want to remind us is that, sometimes we aggravate our families a lot as well. Sometimes we aggravate our families a lot as well. And it becomes chaotic when it comes to dead left land. When Granny died, my father was a bastard. He wasn't for my grandma. He wasn't for my grandmother's husband. And so whatever he left, all those 16 acres of property, obviously Granny had 2 kids before she married this man. And whatever he had left, I guess it was for those 2 kids who were born in wedlock. And that's fine. I never knew him. When I went there to live in 1962, because I was 2 years old when I went to live with Granny, he was already dead for years. Now, in my head, I thought that Granny had the opportunity to, even though she wasn't rich, but had an opportunity to make sure that regardless of the fact that the other 2 kids were bastards, that she would have made sure they were okay with all that land. But God is a great God, and He makes things work the way it works because sometimes if it was another way, it would have created a lot of problems. But thank God we never make it become a problem. She left it, and it was only for those 2 children. I went home. Granny died. I went home. I buried Granny. I put so much into Granny's funeral. It was interesting that the people who you had some of the grandkids who they killed the goat, them do whatever, and one other grandchild who, she stood by and we got things done, right? All the food, eating, everything, the casket, the sepulcher, everything done. And I gave the church some funds and I left. When I left, after the funeral the night. I left from St. Elizabeth and I went to Trelawney. The following day I was flying out. My cousin and I would have flown out together, right? I got to Montego Bay, checked in, waiting for her to come. She was late. And when her brother finally brought her, she has to hurry, and rush. And one of the brothers said to me, my sister is something else. She is late because she wasn't leaving until the will was read. Because she wanted to know if me, Beverly, got any of the land. Mind you, Granny raised me from I was 2 years old. From 2. It wasn't like I was in my teens and a problem child and they said, Granny, you gotta come take this girl. Granny went and took me and raised me. So I always laughed at them, and I said, you guys are fighting over this land. I said, how much pail and chimney of whatever I threw at those breadfruit tree root, because in the mornings when you take out the pail, you Granny them always said the urine had properties in it for whatever. It had nutrients in it. That's what they used to say. So you had to throw it at the breadfruit tree root, or like we had a big guinea tree, you throw it at the tree root so that the salts and whatever else was in it would nurture them. And so I was laughing sometimes when I talked to those cousins and said, you all are, you sit there with all this land and what have you done with it? They've done absolutely nothing with it. They never planted tomato, they never planted peas, nothing. And I said, look at that. My cousin is sitting waiting to see if I get land. And look at the end result. She's gone, dead at 40 something, died, didn't even get a chance to go back there and eat an orange. And so I say, I didn't let it be a problem. I never went back there to think that I want piece of land to go build pan. I did this to Granny. When I asked her on the plane how much she contributed to Granny's thing, she said, I gave $100. And I just smiled in my heart. I said, you guys inherited everything. Just 2 of you families. Her and her 2 brothers and 3 brothers and my aunt and her family. They got everything. Yet you're telling me you're coming from America and all you could have contributed to your grandmother's funeral was $100. So I see where many families have gotten into altercations and hatefulness because, family members get sick and we never go back, we never look back, we never go to make sure. When Granny got sick, and she wasn't sick, but I heard that she was, they called and they told me Granny, she didn't know anybody. And I said, oh my goodness, if she's not knowing anybody, then I guess she is getting weaker. She was 96 when she died. Now, I'm just sharing this story to help us understand as human beings that, we stay abroad and we make this, we're not the ones there cleaning the poop, bathing them, lifting and turning them, just doing the hard, heavy lifting when they get old and not able to manage anymore. So when we go home, do what we have to do, but don't start taking over. Because the kids who have been there doing all the heavy lifting, it hurts them when we as foreigners come in who, sometimes we were the ones who got help, not me, to go to school and to build. And then we never come back when they got sick, but we come back to, well, they will be buried in this casket. And we start making the big decisions. We start doing the grandstanding for outsiders to come in and say, oh my God, such a grand funeral. Oh my God. But we were never there when they were crying out in pain, when they were suffering and struggling. We were never there. We only show up now to show the world how you can, and then we start pushing off John, who built up a little shed next to the family house, and we start pushing off Mary, who has a husband with 2 children on the other end, but they were the ones there bringing a little food, going to bring a little water, going to make sure that the linens were washed and your family member was bathed. Let us not forget those guys. When Granny, they said Granny didn't know some people anymore, Granny was messing up on herself. That hurt me, because regardless of the fact that she didn't have it to send me to school, to high school, I knew that whatever I became as an adult when I got to leave Jamaica, it's the foundation that I received, because she never took me out to school to go wash out, full up drum of water. I had to fill the drums, but that was done before day in the morning, that I had my neighbors. I would run to the pond and we'd bring water and fill the drums. But I was never taken out of school to be on the farm, or when it's pimento time to go help brock pimento or brock up pimento and shell pimento. Never taken out of school for that. Granny made sure, she said, your education, my pitney, is what's going to carry you through this world. So she made sure I got that. So I didn't care about financial support from her. I just was very grateful that I got my education. So when I asked the principal, I got 2 days off from work, and I had the weekend, and so I head home. And when we got there, Granny was in the room. My aunt had gone to the market. In those days, guys, they farm, and when you look and see the heap of tomato and stuff, and they go to the market and they make like $250, and my heart ached. My heart ached. And, you know, I don't know. I just had to live in a gated community, because I don't know, I am always drawn to people who are trying. I don't like lazy people, but if you're trying, I have to help. And so when I went and I saw Granny, and I tell you, the experience was so touching, because they said she didn't know anyone. And so we went in the room, and Granny, I held her hand and I said, Granny, Bev is here. And she looking at me, and she looking at me, and she said, Lord, I hold is somebody. I hold this. And I said, Granny, it's Bev. It's Bev, the little dead left girl you raised. And she looked at me, and I was holding her hand, and she held my hand too, and she looking at, and she looked, and she said, wait, not for me, Bev, this here. And the tears just flowed down my face, people. I hugged Granny so tightly. I said, yes, Granny, it's your little Bev, this. Not little anymore. And then she started telling me about her brother Alvin. Uncle Alvin still was alive then. And it was such a touching feeling, you know. And I knew eventually she got up out of the bed, and, you know, she was showing me some stuff. I mean, the letters were rubbed off the things, like things I sent Granny from like, I don't know how long. When I went to America, I would send her cards, I would send her things. And Granny had a string, and she had them sitting up on there. And people, let me tell you something, the letters were gone, but Granny still cherished them. She still cherished them. And those are gifts. I didn't care. She left me 5,000 Jamaican dollars. You're talking about 2006, 2005. She left me 5,000 Jamaican dollars. I told my aunt, it's okay, you guys need it, I don't. You know? And I went on my merry way. I didn't look back. I didn't worry about them and their land. And to just see how everything just, nobody they didn't build a thing. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. But I didn't go in and you know, I told my aunt, I said, I brought Pampers, and I said, Auntie, here, I'm leaving funds for you to hire the lady down there and ask her to come up, and just in the mornings, let her take Granny out of bed. Let her clean her up and put on a pamper on her. In the night, again, before she goes to bed, Auntie. My aunt was old then. She was in her late 70s. And so I knew she couldn't manage Granny when Granny couldn't get out of bed anymore. But again, people are people, you know, and Granny didn't last longer. But in my heart, I was glad I got to go. So let those experiences be good experiences, guys. Don't let land If you got the opportunity to go away and build, while you were building, secure something for yourselves. Don't go back and fight these people and take away what they have. Well, you know, I made the last one, I made it belong to, and this and that. And let those who were there, let them enjoy it. Let them enjoy it. Even if you go back to live, try to live in peace. But don't go and try to bully them off the property, take it away and leave them destitute. Go and try to live in peace. I'm begging you, because a lot of people, they leave and they live the high life, they eat and drink the best way, and then when the money's run out and they have nothing, they look back at the little piece of land that was left there and they want to fight everybody for it. So again, it was this one of in the news that where the lady in England won £133,000 and decided to get up and just go bully her families and do what she wanted to do. And one family member, her sister, told her, don't do it, don't come here and build here, or whatever she told her, don't do it. And she felt good that she thought £133,000 were powerful enough for her to go and take over. And she sit there and she build, and the sister warned her, and in the end she lost her life because the sister told her, you know. So don't lose your lives, guys, because of dead left land. Those who have been there doing the heavy lifting. The hardest thing is when somebody's sick and crying out, and you have to deal with it. I worked as a home health care provider when I went to America in my early years. That's where I started before I went to college and built myself to another level. But when people are sick and you hear those cries and there's nothing you can do to support, to help, it's not a good thing. So those people who chose to sit and listen and put up with it and listen to the, and just try to give comfort and put them out in the sunlight to get some sun in their bodies and do all of those things. Don't go home and try to crucify them. Don't go home and take away anything. A lot of times parents might say, this is for you, and then I left no paper. And because them not left no paper, then it's just so bitter. And it creates such division. But guys, let it not be. If you can afford to buy a home away from home, go visit and leave. Don't go there and try to strong arm people. Let them be. Let them be. So that is my message today, guys, that as we go forth, when God has blessed us, who God blesses, no man should curse. And therefore, if God has blessed us, then let us not want more upon plenty. A lot of us, our what we have is not blessing, And so because of that, we can't be satisfied. When we are blessed, we do, and it doesn't matter because we know God will replenish, And when we are not blessed, when our riches didn't come from blessings, not every people, there's a song, it says, who sings it? Or is it? It's a quote though. That is not every blessing is money. A lot of times we know what money can do to people. It makes us evil. It makes us feel like we're better than. It makes us heartless. It makes us just stupid. But when God has blessed us, He blesses us in many different shapes and forms. And because of that, we're richer than we can ever be. So please go forward today, guys, and make it a blessed day. And remember that you have to be careful as you walk out there. We have to keep God close. We have to make sure that, we don't think ourselves too high, because God doesn't like pride. He says, he that exalteth shall be abased, but he that humbleth, He shall lift up. So let us be humble this day so that God will continue to lift us up. And when He lifts us up, it's not about material things, but He lifts us up in other ways and in other shapes and forms. So be blessed, my people. Be humble and be thankful. Bye.